Since doing the reviews on this channel, there have always been a couple that have stood out, ones that I would like to get to, and today we finally get to do one of the ones that I have waited to do. MediEvil PS1 is one of those games that I was a bit late to the party to. I think it was maybe 2001, 2002 was when I first checked it out, so I was never really a fan of it from the get-go. But over the years, and especially since the remake came out in 2019, I have fell in love with MediEvil. From everything to the music to the world to Sir Daniel Fortesque, he is just a really memorable character and I really want Sony to utilise him more. I can't do this review on my own, so we've got someone to help us out. Isn't that right, Sir Daniel? What do you mean you want to do commentary? Daniel, I don't know if you've noticed, but you don't have a jaw. You said you just wanted to be featured. You said, and I quote, I'm going to regret this. I know I am.
MediEvil on PlayStation 1 is a title I would definitely call a hidden gem. Compared to some of the other mascots for Sony, Daniel Fortesque may not compare to the likes of Nathan Drake, Spyro, Crash or even Spider-Man, but rest assured he is one of the OGs, and is up there way higher than some of the newer ones. MediEvil was released in 1998 on PlayStation 1 and is an action-adventure experience that's a really fun time. Taking place in the kingdom of Gallowmere, you play as recently resurrected Knight, Sir Daniel Fortesque, the hero of Gallowmere. In my previous video when I said I was going to be talking about MediEvil, I mentioned that the word hero is a bit of a stretch with Sir Daniel Fortesque, and while I do stand by that statement, it does only attribute to Dan in the early portion of the game. During the battle with Zarok's men, King Peregrine entrusted Daniel to lead the charge against Zarok, and this is where the game really gets silly but in a good way. Sir Daniel leads the charge and boom! An arrow shot into his eye, and he's the first to go down in battle. You genuinely can't make this up. All the other heroes who have since passed have always looked down on Dan, mocking him and reminding him he was there to entertain the king. Dan would not take it lying down, pardon the pun. So when Zarok returns and accidentally resurrects him, Dan makes it his mission to stop Zarok and become the hero he was destined to be. Even the merchant gargoyles mock him. It's hilarious. Not all heroes do take the piss out of him though. Some recognise him as a hero despite knowing what happened, whereas the rest really do scold him for it. The lore in this game is really well done and the world of Gallowmere is visually striking. It almost looks like if Tim Burton was to create a story set in a medieval landscape. The music in the game is probably my favourite thing. It strikes a nice balance of originality while also giving you that Danny Elfman feel with certain songs. Just listen to some of these tracks. start off as Dan in his crypt and move all the way to Zarok's lair. The game isn't short by any means, but it's also not as long as you might think. The gameplay loop consists of revisiting certain levels in order to 100% it and collect all chalices. The more chalices you collect in levels, the stronger your arsenal becomes. When you've collected a chalice and finished a level, you'll be transported to the Hall of Heroes, where Daniel can communicate with the spirits of his fellow heroes and receive rewards in the form of weapons, life bottles and currency. Also, if someone can please confirm for me that this warrior is in fact a Scouser, I will buy you an unlimited supply of Buenos.
Now then, have you got yourself a magic sword? What? Daniel, man, you can't go into battle against an army of undead without a magic sword. Here, take mine. You'll never have to sharpen another blade, or my name's not Dirk Steadfast. It's not enough just to have a magic shield, you know, no matter what that soft ticky stern card says.
The loop's important because some levels definitely feel like they have a learning curve. For example, during the Pumpkin Gorge level, these bastards were frying my health and the amount of life bottles I had just wasn't enough. So I had to revisit different levels, use the life pools to top up the bottles, and get any chalices that I may have missed. The pumpkin enemies were some of the toughest I've faced, but with the right weaponry you'll absolutely demolish them. Speaking of the enemies, there's enough enemy variation here to not make the enemies feel boring. Some do reappear through the game, but depending on the level you face them depends on how hard they hit. For example, the zombies in the first level are such pushovers, but once we get to the asylum they can hit ridiculously hard. My favourite enemies were honestly the imps. These thieving little bastards will jump on you and steal your weapons, and if you don't manage to get it back quick enough, you can buy them from the gargoyle, albeit for a hefty price. My favourite boss probably goes to either the stained glass demon or the pirate captain. They're such simple fights, but the energy of the fights mixed with the amazing score really gets me invested.
Oh my god! Dad's beautiful!
Certain levels will also include puzzles for you to complete. The ones that come to mind are the levels Mad Family, Asylum Grounds and Time Device. Sir Daniel, if you might not have noticed already, does not have a jaw, so his dialogue's limited to just grunts and vague understandings of what he's trying to say. I liken him to Crash Bandicoot in the sense that he's another mascot who doesn't speak and would rather convey everything through body language. Dan does it really, really well. He's no brave knight, he's no cunning warrior. He's an idiot. Zarok is a pretty cool villain, and despite being somewhat goofy, his threat comes across really, really well. He often reminds me of Skeletor in the sense that, yeah, he's goofy, but when he's menacing, There's a reason he's the main villain of Gallowmere. I absolutely love this line from Zarok at the end when you defeat his right-hand man, Lord Cardok. In the remake, the dialogue was largely unchanged and it's super faithful to the original, but that's a topic for a video further down the line. It's hard to talk about certain things in MediEvil without echoing what other people have already said about it. The game's got a demented but light-hearted look to it, and it's enough to walk the line between horror and adventure without overstepping the mark. During one of the levels, you enter the village and find its inhabitants possessed by Zarok. Normally the instinct is to kill them, like all the other enemies you face so far, but what separates them from the other enemies is the fact that they aren't inherently bad, they're just possessed. So if you do kill them, you are made to feel bad about it. So it's just best to ignore them while you search the village for what you need. Each level has a similar sort of pattern that you follow in order to progress. Enter the level, find the rune, unlock the gate, kill the enemies, get the chalice and leave. It's not like this for all levels though. Like I mentioned before, some level chalices can be obtained on the first try. So once you've been able to attain certain artifacts, you can revisit the level and unlock a new area. A good example of this is the Enchanted Earth level. It's a super small contained area that's purposely designed to come back to later on. You'll find a witch talisman that allows you to visit a sub-level in the Enchanted Earth that takes place in the Ant Cave, where these hilarious fairies are captured by the Ant Queen.
Thank you for releasing me, sir. My people wish only to live our lives in blissful harmony with nature. But alas, the wicked Ant Queen has many of us imprisoned. Rescue my people, Mr. Fortesque, and you will be richly rewarded.
Once you're done in the cave, you are summoned back to the witch and can exit the level. As well as the witch's talisman, you'll also receive 2 dragon eyes for a later level. In the caverns, place the eyes in this dragon mural and a bloody Scottish dragon pops up, and you can fight it. It's little things like this that make MediEvil truly charming and stand on its own 2 feet.
Dares to enter my lair and wake me from my slumber. Aha! Prepare yourself, little man. I shall roast the flesh from your bones. Oh, I see. Well, in that case, I will pluck out both your eyes. Oh, great. I'm just going to give you a good hiding.
The weapons that Daniel uses can vary from different types of swords to clubs, hammers, bows and arrows, knives, crossbows, freaking lightning, your own arm, and even chicken drumsticks. The drumsticks are great for taking out large groups of enemies. Once they've been dealt with, you can pick up the drumsticks and eat them for a little health top up. The absolute worst thing about this game, unfortunately, is the last little chunk of it. The only levels here that are remotely fun and not painstakingly annoying are Crystal Cavern, Gallows Gauntlet, Haunted Ruins, and the Ghost Ship. Every other level from Ancient Pools onwards just sucks, not because of them being poorly designed, because they aren't. It's because you find yourself actively fighting against the camera the most here. The PS1 has always suffered from camera control problems, and sometimes it responds and sometimes it doesn't, causing you to take a sharp left turn off the ledge and die. Not to mention as well that sometimes when you press jump to clear a gap, Dan just won't jump and he'll die again. The reticle 2 for ranged weapons can be a ball ache. There's this little green wisp that follows you around, and Dan will follow it all around, and when it moves over to an enemy he'll target it, although sometimes the wisp won't register a target, so it'll just be blindly firing at enemies not doing any damage. This was constant during the final fight with Zarok. Speaking of the final fight, I am absolutely gutted that this fight sucks. It starts with you and an army fighting skeletons. You keep your allies' health topped up with your own life force, and it's important to collect life bottles on your way to do this, otherwise you won't have enough to finish the fight. If you do need to go back and collect more, it does add to the loop, but when you're so far in, having to revisit older levels and keep your health topped up to collect any missing bottles can be a pain. Luckily for me though, I really enjoyed that aspect of it. If you were to go from Dan's Crypt to Zarok's Lair without revisiting levels and upgrading Dan's arsenal, the game would be over much quicker. After we helped the soldiers, we then fought Lord Kardok, and he was super easy to kill. We then fight Zarok, and rather than have a 1v1 duel with the most powerful sorcerer, we fight him in some weird demon form. The fight was a pain thanks to the previously mentioned camera issues. You can only attack Zarok when his shield's down, but when he attacks he deals mega damage, so ranged weapons were the way forward. We beat Zarok, he tries to cast one last spell, and is then crushed by debris from the castle. We escape, witness Gallowmere turn back to normal, and from this point on Sir Daniel Fortesque returns to his ancient slumber, resting once more knowing he became the hero he was meant to be. Once you've collected all chalices, Dan is welcomed into the Hall of Heroes and celebrates with his fellow heroes. It's a really heartwarming moment to witness because it's all Dan wanted. He wanted to be a hero and he got it. Don't let that distract you though, he's still an idiot.
Well, I kind of got left to do this review on my own. I guess Daniel didn't like what I was saying, or maybe he just got bored. But that was my review for MediEvil on the PlayStation 1. Now, somewhere down the line, we are going to be doing MediEvil 2. We are going to be doing the PSP version of MediEvil as well. And what I'm probably going to do with that version is I'm going to tie that in with the 2019 remake as well, just because they are both remakes of the game. Obviously, one being on PSP and one being on PS4. So thank you guys for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it. It's been a blast to make. It's been a blast to revisit MediEvil. And, oh, he's back. So, Daniel, as I was going to say earlier before I noticed that you were gone, what was your favourite level of MediEvil? He's going to be waffling for a while, so yeah. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.